2023 marks a turning point in Cambodian politics when Prime Minister Hun Sen, after nearly 40 years in power, announced his resignation and General Hun Manet, his son, became his successor. This smooth transfer of power is seen as a completed mission by Hun Sen and will undoubtedly deeply impact the future of the Kingdom of Cambodia. While some believe the new leader represents the younger generation and will loosen controls to realize the people's dreams of democracy and human rights, many other politicians express doubts about Hun Manet's political capabilities, while affirming his position is the result of arrangements by his father through the suppression of opposition factions. Consequently, civil and political space in Cambodia is gradually shrinking as those in the ruling apparatus all have close ties to the Hun Sen family. The life of Hun Manet. Hun Manet was born on October 20, 1977, in Cambodia, the son of Hun Sen and Bun Rainey, carrying warrior blood from his grandfather Hun Manet. From a young age, his family took care of his education and had high expectations for a bright future. From 1990 to 1993, he studied and completed his secondary education in the capital Phnom Penh. In 1995, he joined the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces. That same year, Manet also enrolled in the United States Military Academy, also known as West Point, one of the most prestigious military training institutions of the U.S. Army. After receiving his diploma in May 1999, he became the first Cambodian graduate of this academy, and one of 7 international graduates that year. His son earned a bachelor. Additionally, Manet obtained a master's degree in economics from New York University in 2002, and a PhD in economics from the University of Bristol in the United Kingdom in 2000. After his training abroad, he joined and commanded the National Counter-Terrorism Task Force under the Cambodian Ministry of Defense, with the rank of colonel in 2008. Since then, due to his outstanding abilities, this politician has rapidly advanced and held many high-ranking positions in the state military. From 2018 until before the 2023 election, he was Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Royal Cambodian Army and held the rank of 4-star general. Besides important military positions, Hun Manet made rapid progress in the Cambodian People's Party, abbreviated as CP. This was a crucial stepping stone for him to reach the position of head of government. Accordingly, in December 2018, Manet was elected to the Central Committee. By 2020, he was the youth leader of the CPP, and in December 2021, the CPP issued a statement supporting Hun Manet as the candidate for Prime Minister of Cambodia. As a future leader, he also actively participated in diplomatic activities. Many foreign leaders warmly and respectfully received Hun Sen's son, not only because he is a senior official of the ministry, but also due to his status as the future leader of Cambodia. With his educational background, the new leader has ignited hope among the people that he can bring about positive political change to restore the country's influence in the Southeast Asian region, Cambodia's historical mark. After a decade of building the political foundation in Cambodia, the plan to transfer power to Hun Sen's son proceeded almost perfectly. Even Meta could not prevent the inevitable outcome but it banned Hun Sen from their platforms. Ahead of the July 2023 election, they even removed an important propaganda channel of the Kingdom of Cambodia's government. The election results showed that the People's Party gained a higher vote share than in the 2018 election, with over 82% of the votes from about 8.2 million eligible voters, and won 120 out of 125 seats in parliament, compared to nearly 77% in 2018. Subsequently, the Cambodian leader affirmed that these numbers show the people sent 3 messages. First is trust in the CPP, second is trust in Hun Sen, and third is trust in Hun Manet, my successor. Although no risks appeared during the preparation for the Senate election, this event was not without controversy, as hopes for a more open space. Because there is almost no competition, as Hun Sen had prevented anything from happening by chance. To be fair, the new Prime Minister is a truly comprehensive politician with proven talent, along with good looks and a confident, elegant style, especially known how to inspire, winning people's hearts as well as attracting support from all social classes, particularly among Cambodian youth, where many see him as a symbol of innovation. However, this transfer of power has also surprised many, because a few years ago, Hun Sen repeatedly expressed his desire to remain in power until the 2030s. This appeal is no less than his father. Especially during the election campaign, there were always large crowds of supporters and enthusiastic Shia. Although Hun Sen has repeatedly asserted that supporting his son is not a hereditary succession, but rather a process with strict regulations within Cambodia's democratic system. But most Western observers offer a different explanation for this smooth transfer of power. They emphasize the lack of democracy and rule of law in the country of the Tebel, while Washington has also expressed concerns about the election, as it was neither free nor fair. From this perspective, Hun Manet holds power because there is no other and an illegitimate election will produce an illegitimate prime minister. Scholars of authoritarianism also provide a deeper answer. They explain that the hereditary succession stems from a nearly perfectly executed two-pronged strategy. The first part of it is the systematic dismantling of opposition parties and organizations outside the CPP. Suppressing all opposition leaves little room for dissent against Manet's succession process. The second aspect is carefully managing any potential challenges to Manet within, by allowing powerful members like Defense Minister Tivon and Interior Minister Sarkang to transfer their positions to their children. From here, the Hun family has maintained stability by distributing the country's spoils to the next generation of. Another answer often not acknowledged in the media about why this succession faces little opposition. S party. This is also a lesson learned from the 2013 election, when opposition parties achieved unexpected success thanks to young voters. Therefore, Hun Sen used Facebook to communicate with the younger generation, who spent more time looking at their phone screens than watching TV. This also explains why Manet's ban was significant in 2023. But the youth strategy has expanded beyond Facebook. A CPP youth working group led by Manet has been active since June 2020, and began promoting Cambodian culture and the benefits of the CPP both domestically and internationally. Accordingly, many university scholarships have been awarded by groups connected to Hun, and many public schools have been renamed to honor prominent families of the People's Party elite. Even Hun Sen's youngest son, Hun Manet, has become the president of the Cambodian Youth Federation, a non-governmental organization set to promote education and healthcare nationwide. Over the past decade, the youth of the Temple Towers have been the target of generous government policies, aimed at making the People's Party an idol in the minds of young voters. As a way to respond to public accusations, Hun Sen once stated bluntly, "I support my son becoming prime minister but through elections, not by any other means. And for a qualified person like Hun Manet, even if he were my relative, I would still support him as leader." It can be seen that Hun Sen has great confidence in his son, who is expected to be more capable and so. After Hun Manet became Cambodia's prime minister, he not only faces debates about democracy and hereditary succession but also bears significant challenges, including soaring private debt due to Chinese investments and microloans, persistent inequality, environmental issues related to climate change, labor exploitation problems, and political opposition factions. These factors could significantly affect the future the country of the Temple Towers as well as Hun Manet's legitimacy as a national leader. During his years in power, Hun Sen redefined the meaning of democracy and human rights to suit his needs. He chose to be friendly with political leaders of all ideological leanings. To curb international pressure, especially in the past decade, Phnom Penh has moved closer to Beijing through a series of large-scale investment projects. Cambodia has embraced China's Belt and Road Initiative, leading to a surge of investment capital from the mainland, pouring heavily into infrastructure, real estate, and tourism sectors. Although these investments have spurred economic growth, they have also led to an increasing debt burden. Currently, over 40% of Cambodia's external public debt is owed to China. Furthermore, excessive reliance on Beijing has exposed the country to major shocks and revealed economic vulnerabilities, as seen during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thus, as Hun Manet takes over power from his father, this will be a significant issue the new prime minister must face in his first term. With easy money from mainland investments, Cambodians are also sinking into debt. The International Monetary Fund estimates that private debt exceeded 100% of GDP, and although most of this debt is held by corporations, households still bear considerable impacts. Such an economic backdrop is challenging Manet in 2024, with inflation likely to rise. Above all, the ambition to become a middle-income country by 2030 for the Kingdom of Cambodia puts the new Prime Minister in a difficult position, as the country currently has a GDP of 41 and a per capita GDP of only 2,406. Additionally, inequality exacerbated crisis is also a crucial factor. Although the poverty rate has decreased since 2009 as GDP grew, persistent inequality remains nationwide. Just driving from Phnom Penh to Siem Reap, you'll see a stark contrast as scenes of luxury cars in cities are replaced by thatched roof houses in suburban areas. Of course, even major cities have impoverished populations, such as the slums in Phnom Penh. This inequality stems from corruption, along with close ties between business owners and the People's Party. If Hun Manet responds poorly, overlapping issues could push the poor population into hardship. On the other hand, no prospect for Cambodia is complete without addressing the perennial question of the opposition. Although these groups were largely dismantled in 2023, they are reacting and regrouping in 2024, thereby attracting more dissatisfied voters seeking to overthrow the Hun Sen families. On August 18, 2024, Cambodia faced the risk of a protest in the capital Phnom Penh against Hun Sen's family, and opposing the Development Triangle Initiative among Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, signed in 1999. Riots erupted amid the 25th anniversary of the initiative's launch and the color revolution strongly emerging in Bangladesh. Previously, the Kingdom of Cambodia also experienced a large-scale protest from July 2013 to July 2014. At that time, thousands took to the streets in Phnom Penh to oppose Hun Sen's government, due to allegations of election fraud in the 2013 general election. As a result, the state government had to negotiate with the opposition party to end the nearly year-long unrest, making it the longest political crisis in Cambodia's history. It has been 10 years since then, and the threat from opposition parties still persists, posing new challenges to Prime Minister Hun Manet's power. But some argue that Hun Manet may not need to worry about the opposition, because his power now depends on the country's development as party under the new Prime Minister. Thus, with economic, climate, and political challenges ahead, Hun Manet faces a volatile political landscape in 2025, and how he navigates them will determine the country's future trajectory. It's unknown whether the new leader will be the sole captain of the ship or if his father will return to take on a larger leadership role. Similarly, many also question whether the incumbent Prime Minister and his young cabinet members are interested in promoting genuine democracy, or if this new generation will continue their parents' legacy to protect power at all costs. Hun Manet opens new prospects for Cambodia's economy. Although to date, Hun Manet's precise foreign policy stance remains compared to his father's leadership era, he has shown significant change by choosing to diversify Cambodia's diplomatic policies, because the new leader realizes that over-reliance on any country poses risks to the nation's autonomy and economic stability. Particularly in November 2023, the World Bank predicted Cambodia's economy would face major challenges due to poor logistics and transportation capacity, along with unstable energy supply. Therefore, less than 6 months after taking off, the Hun Manet government launched unprecedented diplomatic activities. Specifically, the country enhanced cooperation with over 10 countries, notably Canada and the Netherlands. Moreover, having studied at the U.S. Military Academy, the new Prime Minister is expected to help Cambodia implement a more Western-friendly policy than his father's era. Ben will went to New York to attend the 78th session of the UN General Assembly in September 2023. Hun Manet met with Victoria Nuland, former U.S. Deputy Secretary of State, to discuss improving by June 4, 2024, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin visited Cambodia in an effort to restore relations with a Southeast Asian country after years of cold. Additionally, since taking office in August 2023, Hun Manet has also strengthened cooperation with Europe, exemplified by his visit to France in January 2024. During this visit, Phnom Penh received a $235 million aid package from Paris for building energy infrastructure, clean water, and vocational training support from Asia and Europe to Latin America and even Africa. These efforts show a positive start toward Cambodia being more proactive internationally. It's too early to assess Hun Manet. The Cambodian public has acknowledged his efforts. Most notably is the establishment of a vision towards 2050. When Cambodia is envisioned to become a strong, dynamic, and prosperous nation, the strategy outlines 5 main pillars, including human resource development, economic diversification, capacity building, private sector development, sustainable and inclusive development, and finally digital socio-economic development. This roadmap to 2050 differs in 2 notable aspects. First, this is the first long-term vision for the country's future. With a duration of over 25 years, this extended timeframe marks a strategic in Cambodia's development planning. Second is the approach, emphasizing cooperative efforts from national to grassroots levels. This strategy is designed to align with multiple management levels and societal participation in pursuing national goals. Thus, it can be seen that in the first months of power, Hun Manet has focused on public interests and set longer-term plans compared to Hun Sen's policy. Although Manet is changing Cambodia's foreign policy, he certainly won't abandon the partnership with China, as joint military exercises and diplomatic exchanges continue, including allowing Beijing's ships to dock at Green Naval Base. Manet also reaffirmed economic cooperation plans with $1 billion, where China agreed to help Cambodia strengthen its technology sector and agricultural sector. Thus, the U.S. cannot expect Cambodia to abandon its close, but they will leverage Hun Manet's new diplomatic thinking to create significant changes in the future, thereby limiting China's influence in Southeast relationship with ASEAN. Rule, Cambodia. Initially, the country served as a bridge between Southeast Asia and China, but gradually they chose to side with Beijing on some controversial issues, and frequently block ASEAN consensus on matters unfavorable to China. Authoritarian regimes has challenged the organization, promoting the consensus-based approach, making it difficult for the group to address controversial regional issues, such as territorial and maritime disputes in the south, with some ASEAN countries leaning towards China for economic and political support. The organization is struggling to present a united front, especially in their dialogues with Western powers, along with changes in economic practices. Foreign policy to improve Cambodia with neighboring countries while enhancing its presence in international organizations. He attended the 43rd ASEAN Summit in Indonesia and went to Arab Saud to participate in the ASEAN Gulf Cooperation Council Summit in October 2023. Additionally, in the same year, Cambodia's new leader also visited Vietnam from December 11 to 12. Overall, Hun initial moves in foreign policy appear cautious, but strategic and emphasize regional relationships, while keeping options open for broader international connections. However, he faced considerable controversy when deciding to launch the Phu Nang Line on August 5, 2024, to connect the Mekong River to Cambodia's coast, despite concerns about its negative impacts on Vietnam. Specifically, it's unclear how this infrastructure project will change water levels in the Khu and affect agricultural activities there. Along with other security concerns because this canal is funded and operated by China, and could be used by Beijing's Navy to more easily access Vietnam. In the face of these concerns, the Cambodian government doesn't seem to consider any necessity to alleviate our country's worries. Furthermore, on September 23, 2024, the Pagoda Tower ambassador also announced that Cambodia allows Vietnam development, although previously they had emphatically declared this as one of the important drivers for the country's economic development. This governance process resembles the story of children inheriting their parents. They have an easy life because they were hiding under the shadow of their parents. Now, Cambodia not only has Hun Sen tightly holding power, but his children's importance is gradually increasing, making the country a family business. And clearly, despite the change in leadership, Hun Sen's power is far from extinguished, as he remains head of the Cambodian People's Party and holds the position of Senate President. Information about Hun Manet, Cambodia, who changed the history of nearly 4 decades of Hun Sen's rule. Hello and see you in the next videos.